That is why if you're a female, even if you're a male, it doesn't even matter, go get checked. Like, just please, especially if you feel like something's wrong. I'm scared, to be honest. When I'm on my period, I gain weight. When I'm on my period, it could last a month and a half. I'm very, very abnormal when it comes to my period because of my weight. So yeah, that is just not pretty. But then I got a little scared, like, oh my god, my periods are so weird. I've had periods that lasted, you know, months. Okay, not months, like a month and a half. Or I have periods that last a day. I wake up today and I am no longer on my period. It was a one-day thing. I said before how I have weird, very, very unnormal, probably very unhealthy period cycle. And I have been told by several people that it's probably PCOS. I have never been tested for it, and I don't really want to be tested for it yet because I feel like what is that going to do to me if I know or if I don't, because I know quite a few people, surprisingly, who do have PCOS, and I mean, the only thing it really affects is their period cycle. It's not like you die from it. I don't get my period. I'm assuming it is because I am, you know, obese, and when I do, sometimes it's just like a little spotting. Sometimes it's like, just recently, about 5 months ago, I had heavy flow for 2 months straight, and it was bad. I've even said this in my vlogs. I have a very confusing period, and it's because I am overweight. I will have spotting and then it'll go away. I'll have this and that, it'll go away. Like, it's not like a real period. It's because of my weight. I have seen doctors for it in the past, and they do say it is because of my weight and the fact that I am so heavy. It does make my, you know, hormones just out of whack. So I have always had the weirdest period pattern. I know, TMI, sorry everybody, and sorry if you're a guy watching this, but somehow I doubt it. It's because I'm obese. I already saw a doctor. Da-da-doo-doo-doo. It is because I'm obese and my hormones out of whack, and it's hard for me to get my period sometimes, and sometimes I get my period for too long and this and that. So currently I'm at a stage where I have a lot of spotting going on. I really hate having my period, mainly because it's not like set in stone. Like, I could have it for a month, I can have it for a day, I could have it for 2 months, and I hate it. I really do. But anyways, I have really irregular periods. I'm even questioning why I'm even gonna tell you guys about this, but I'm a pretty open book on here. So it's because of my weight. I have been to the doctor about it. My hormones, when you're obese, especially as big as me, your hormones are not going to be normal at all. So my, like, period is very weird. I can go months without it. I could spot just a tiny bit every single day for a month. I could have a regular period for an hour in like 3 months, and that's it. Like, there is no pattern, there's no rhyme or reason, there is no nothing. So I think it was 4 days ago, I woke up, and if you're a girl, you know how it feels to have, why am I talking about this? You know how it feels to have, you know, stuff come out, like blood clots. So it was like really bad, and I was like, wait a minute, what? So I got up, I went to the bathroom, and It looked like a crime scene. Oh my god, this is so gross. This is not gonna get monetized. To put it lightly, I had to stand in the shower for over an hour and just let it flow. God, this is wrong. This sounds so wrong. Long story short, this happened 2 days in a row, and it was really bad. Like, it was terrifying how much blood I was losing, and I can't even exaggerate how much it was. It was terrifying. And this has happened before, actually. That was when I lost a lot of weight, which is understandable because you're losing, you know, rapid weight loss for someone my size is gonna cause your periods to come back, sometimes even really heavy. But I haven't really been losing weight, which we're gonna get to that. So it was frightening. And, you know, things like that though, like, I didn't go to the doctor or anything, but I told myself if it happened a third time, because it happened 2 days in a row, then I was gonna go. But it's been 2 days since it happened. Please, let's just make it not happen. Happen again, because it's scary, and I had to eat a lot of like iron-rich foods. I was feeling lethargic from it. I was feeling pretty miserable. You can only like assume. I do know someone who also experienced the same thing, and she's like, you know, they'll literally just tell you it's because you're obese and da-da-da if you end up going to the doctor, so it's almost pointless to go. And I was like, oh, okay. So anyways, as a morbidly obese woman, lady, girl, whatever you want to call me, I would rarely get my period. I'm talking, I could go years without it. I could go months without it, and then I could get it and it would only be for an hour or for just like 2 days. It's very random and it's hormonal. I know a lot of people be like, why haven't you gone to the doctor about it? I actually have, and it is very much because of my weight and it's hormonal. For my whole life, I've always had an irregular period. So I never really thought anything of it when over 2 years ago, I started bleeding, and I bled every single day. Some days were lighter than other days, and other days were heavier. And I didn't think anything of it until probably, it was going on maybe the second or third month when I really sat there and I was just like, what is going on? Like, truthfully and honestly, what is going on? And in my head, I just kept saying, it's because of my weight. It's because of my weight. It's because of my weight. I actually had a friend who told me it's probably endometriosis, and she said it's nothing really to worry about. And this is that type of situation where it's like, don't always listen to your friends because sometimes they can be wrong. So the fact that she also had endometriosis, and she's like, yeah, I had the same symptoms. It'll be okay. It'll go away. So obviously it didn't. At about the 6-month mark, I really began to worry. And at that point, I just started blaming my weight. And then as more time went on, I kept blaming my weight. And then at one point, I didn't think it was my weight. I thought it was something else. But I didn't 100% think cancer until actually a few months ago. And I was actually at Becky's sister's house, and I was just sitting there really processing everything that I was going through. My bleeding was just, every day it was worse and worse. And I started Googling symptoms. I know you are not supposed to use Google as your doctor. And every time I put my symptoms in, it always said uterine cancer. And I remember, I still have the text. I texted Becky because I didn't want to say it out loud in front of her family. I said, I need to see a gyno. I honestly think I have uterine cancer. And when you say something like that, you're self-diagnosing. And long story short, I was right. So the main symptom, and pretty much the only symptom, was bleeding every single day for over 2 years. And I am part of a support group online, which has helped me a ton. And that is everyone else's symptom as well. If you guys hear some of the things that I was going through, that was because of cancer, but I didn't know, you guys would be mad at me. You guys would be like, Amberlynn, why didn't you go to a gyno? Which I totally understand. I'm mad at myself too, you know? It's just so crazy that like, and I think another part of it too is like, my whole life, my period has not been normal. And it is because of my weight. Like obviously in the beginning, like in my early 20s and like in my teenage years, it was because of my weight, obviously. When you're that big, you have hormonal problems or whatever, and it causes your period not to be reliable like a normal period. So I think another really big part was like I was in denial, and I kept telling myself, oh, it's just, you know, because I'm bigger and that's why I'm experiencing these things. But that's not the case. And I almost wonder, like, if I would have had a normal period my whole life and then this stuff would have started happening, if I would have taken it more seriously. I don't know. It's like, it's just a lot. And everyone kept telling me, Amberlynn, you gotta take care of your health. You know, I never expected cancer to be the thing. For a majority of my life, my normal, like because of my weight, period stuff, was I would be on it for like a couple days, and then I wouldn't have it for sometimes like 2 years, you know, which according to the doctors, they said it was because of my weight. I had the option of taking birth control, but I never wanted to, da da da. So there was nothing like wrong with me in that sense. But then I think it was about, I want to say a year and a half ago, maybe, or 2 years ago, I wouldn't stop bleeding. Oh, this is gonna get so TMI. I might regret sharing this. It was as if I was on my period every single day. And after about a month, yeah, it might have been about 2 years ago, a year and a half, yeah. After about a month, it wasn't always like normal period. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. I don't want to get like too TMI with this. Long story short, I was just always either spotting or on my period or something was just coming out, okay? And it got to the point where, oh, I'm so embarrassed. I would have to sleep on towels every night. And God, I don't want to. I stopped sitting on Eric and Ricky's couch, and then finally I just decided I'm gonna make a designated spot for me, and I put towels down because I never knew how bad it was gonna get. It was just all the time. And when I would go to Becky's family's house, this is so embarrassing. I had a designated blanket that I would sit on, that I would leave in the car, and I would wash just in case, because I was afraid all the time, because I never knew. This is so embarrassing. All my pants got ruined and underwear, and it was just every day. Every day. I didn't go a day without bleeding for like a year and a half. And some days it was just like a tiny little bit. And I just kept telling myself, oh, it's because of my weight. But it's like deep down, I was like, it can't be just because of my weight. But I was too scared. So during that year and a half, there were a few times where it got so bad that I couldn't leave my bed. And this is so embarrassing. Like, it would get so bad that I couldn't even wear a pad. Like, I would have to just, this is so horrible. I would have tons of towels on my bed because that was the only thing I could do. And like I said, I just kept telling myself, oh, it's because of my weight. And I would talk to people about it. Like, I had a friend who had endometriosis. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that right. And she told me, that's probably what you have, you know, it can't kill you, da da da. So in my head, I kept telling myself, okay, then that's probably what it is. Like, I don't, you know, worry that bad, you know. But what made me go to the ER is because for about a week, it was just really bad. Every single time I'd pee, not only would I be peeing, but also out of my period hole, I would be just, blood would just be falling out of me as if I was like dying. Like, I don't know how to explain it. And it was just a random night, you know, I was going to the bathroom and this was like maybe 8-9 days ago. It's hard to believe that it was 8-9 days ago. It feels like it just happened. I was going pee and I stopped peeing, but yet it sounded like tons of pee was still falling out of me. So once that stopped, I stood up and I had filled the toilet with nothing but blood. And I called Becky into the bathroom and I said, this is not normal. And during that 1.5 years too, every time I would go to the bathroom, there was always blood in the toilet. I can't even tell you how many times I have asked almost every single one of my female friends, is this normal? Does this happen to you? Like, I would send pictures, and there's this app called Marco Polo. I would send videos. Like, I just wanted confirmation that I was normal. And some of them would be like, yeah, when I'm on my period, sometimes that happens, da da da. But it's like, nope, that wasn't normal. So the worst it ever was like 8 or 9 days ago, and it was so bad that it was just, oh, this is so embarrassing. Oh my God. Okay, so after I stood up, you know, wiped, whatever, wiping was almost like there was, how do I word this? There was no point. So I did it anyways, obviously, because it's like natural habit. I pull up my pants because we're about to go to the ER, and it's as if I am just peeing myself. It was, which I wasn't, it was all, you know, blood. It was honestly so terrifying. I had an anxiety attack the whole way to the hospital, which I want to say was about 30 minutes away. I didn't want to go to the hospital where we live because it's just not, no. But, yeah, it was honestly terrifying, and I am so proud of myself for going to the ER. Okay, not proud of myself. Okay, take that back. I am so glad, and I am so grateful to the guy who stood his ground and said, I'm going to help you. Like, to think that if none of that would have ever happened, I would be sitting here with cancer and not even know it. Because my lab works never showed anything like that. You know, if I wouldn't have had these like random symptoms, I would have never known. And that's why I feel like it's so important to go to your doctor, to go to the gyno. And I prolonged it for so long. Getting misdiagnosed is very common. My whole, like, I had uterine cancer, and I'm sure everyone who watches knows that. And I went to the doctor for the symptoms that I was having. I went to the ER, and I always left with the same diagnosis, a UTI. And that was something that I went through for a couple years. It was always a UTI. And that's a complete misdiagnosis because it was cancer the whole time causing those symptoms. And ever since I had a hysterectomy, I've never had a single one of those symptoms again. And it's frustrating that being misdiagnosed is a thing and can happen, but it's also common because doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, they are not robots.
Why didn't you go see a gyno for the bleeding? Okay, so this is something I also would love to clarify. I actually went to doctors and I went to the ER a couple of times. I went to both. And every single time I was told that it was just a UTI, nothing to worry about. And I have actually vlogged these things. So there is physical proof that I did do these things. And every single time I was just left with a UTI. But yet I showed a lot of signs of cancer, a lot of signs. My white cell count was super high and just a lot of different things like that. So, as for not going to the gyno, that is 100% my fault. I was freaking terrified. But then also being told, everything's fine. It's just a UTI. Take some antibiotics. Um, you know. So I like to believe the professionals. So yeah, but there was a few times, like there was a doctor that I had that actually, my roommate saw. Like we all had the same doctor, and we all really, really liked this doctor, and I believed her when she said, "It's nothing to worry about. You just have a really bad UTI." And I don't know. Exactly. Someone just said, "Do UTIs make you bleed that bad?" They told me they did. um, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I felt so alone and I felt so scared. So I joined this group, and a lot of people who also had the exact same cancer I did, we all share the same story. And we were either A, too blind, or too ashamed, or too scared. We were just like riddled with fear. So it stopped us from going to the gyno. So many people who have had uterine cancer all experience the same thing. I mean, it seems like that. And yeah, your weight, whether you are too small or too big, can mess with someone's hormones, which then messes with someone's period. So I do blame myself for having cancer, and my therapist is trying so hard to get me to a different stage to stop blaming myself, but I don't think I can ever get there.
That it got to the point to where it did. And he even told me over and over, which I agree with, like, if you would have just went to the gyno, like a regular gyno, like every 6 months or whatever, or when the problem started, you wouldn't be in this position. It wouldn't be as bad right now.